Who is the next Overwatch 2 hero? Hello everybody and welcome to the channel. In this video we're going to take a look at the options for the next support hero coming very soon to Overwatch 2, in fact in Season 4. Now, there was a Q&A hosted on Crystal Rain and Bro You Wax channels over on Twitch in which Alec Dawson says familiar faces will be returning as heroes in Overwatch 2. So let's take a look at some familiar faces. Now, what I'm going to focus on here is characters that we've actually been introduced to, either in-game cinematics or from the comic series or any other kind of lore that has been attached to Overwatch over the years. Now, there will be some familiar faces here, some faces that we've probably been asking if they'd be turned into heroes for a long time, but also some maybe different ones that you might not be aware of. So let's begin. Now, it must also be said, we do know the next hero and the hero after that will be a support. So that does kind of narrow down our options, especially when it comes to heroes like Mauga, who very clearly is a Talon tank hero. And we can't really see him being a support, mainly because, well, there's Batiste, he's a support and he's Talon. There's also Moira, she's Talon and she's a support. So another support, especially Mauga when he's got dual miniguns and he clearly is a Talon heavy tank being a support, would be a bit weird. Anyway, let's start off with the first candidate. This is Iggy. Now, Iggy is an Omnic and was introduced to us in the London Calling comics, which concerned Tracer, but it's also about the struggle of the Underworld Omnics, which is at the end of King's Row. Of course, in King's Row, we are delivering an EMP to actually blow up the Underworld, which is kind of dark when you think about it. But yeah, this is Iggy. So Iggy starts off life as a lab technician working in a chemicals lab. Then basically, I won't spoil this because it is actually worth taking a look at this comic book series, London Calling. But what basically happens is there's a bit of a revolution. There is a leader of the Omnics in the Underworld who then sort of gets ousted in favor of what we believe Iggy then steps into that role. Now, Iggy has got a love of music. She's kind of got the whole British punk rocker vibe on the go. She's got a bunch of favorite songs, like she likes the Ramones, she likes London Calling, obviously. She likes Iggy Pop, Lust for Life. You know, it's a very stereotypical kind of British punk rocker thing they've got going on here with this character. But I think there is actually an outside shout. This could be a support hero because she's looking after her Omnics in the Underworld, and in effect, she is the new leader, I would assume, of the Omnics in King's Row. And yeah, she used to be a lab technician, worked with chemicals. Maybe she is a support hero. It's interesting, isn't it, to think of it. Next up is Emily. Now, I think this one is a bit of a long shot. Now, Emily's Tracer's girlfriend, and they both share an apartment in London, which is very near to King's Row. Now, you will remember that Emily actually appeared in the comic Reflections, which is a few years old now, and then it revealed her relationship with Tracer. Now, in this comic, after being given a new scarf for Christmas by Tracer, she is then seen spending the holidays with her and Winston inside Winston's lab, which is way back in Gibraltar, and they're having a pretty good time. Now, on the King's Row map, sometimes Tracer will actually say, I wonder if I've got time to visit Emily. No, better stay focused, which is the only in-game call-out to Emily at the moment. So I think she's a pretty long shot for a hero, but it's good to be aware of her as a character in the Overwatch world. Next up is Sam Amari. Now, this is Farah's father. So on the left-hand side here, you can see the newborn spray, which is in-game. Now, this is Anna holding Farah with Sam. On the right-hand side of the screen, you can see an image of Sam taken from the Reflections comic. Now, this was confirmed by Michael Chu, who at the time was the narrative designer of Overwatch 2. Didn't actually state in the comic that's who it was, but he did on Twitter and say, yeah, that's Sam, it's Farah's father. Now, we don't know much about this character. He could be anybody. All we know is that he is the father of Farah, and we also know, interestingly, that when Anna disappeared after her supposed death in Poland, she never actually told Sam she was alive. So Anna is very much apart from Sam. I would say they're probably divorced, and they're definitely no longer together. Next up is Emre Sarioglu. Now, this image is taken from the Anna, that's right, the Anna origin story. Now, this is way back in 2016. Now, obviously, we can see a bunch of characters here that we now know who they are. So on the right-hand side, we can see Sojourn. We didn't know who that was until, well, recently. Now, on the left-hand side, we believe this character who is kneeling down by Reaper, or Reyes, as he's known at the time, is Emre Sarioglu, who could be a Turkish hero, because that is, I believe, a Turkish-style name. Now, all we know is that during or after the Omnic Crisis, Emre took part in Operation White Dome. Now, I must say, we're not even sure if Operation White Dome is still part of the Overwatch lore. We know things have changed a lot, but if it is, then he took part in it. And this is where Overwatch forces were deployed to Istanbul to root out Omnic resistance forces. So I think this is very interesting. He could be anything at this point, but he's definitely one to keep an eye on. Sanjay Korpal. Okay, this is where things get really funky. So he is an agent or a member of Vishkar. Now, Vishkar is where, well, Symmetra works. This means they specialize in hard light technology. That means they can build things like Symmetra can out of light. Also, Sanjay is one of the leaders of Talon. Now, in the ancient comic, which is called A Better World, I think this was the first Overwatch comic, Sanjay worked with Symmetra to negotiate a contract with the mayor of Rio de Janeiro. When that was unsuccessful, he assisted her in infiltrating the Caldo Tower. Then, while inside, they actually destroyed the offices, and in response, the city was forced to use the Vishkar plans. Now, it is unknown if Caldo's company is still operational or if he is even still alive. So Sanjay likes to use some heavy tactics. Also to know, in the famous Sombra ARG, Sanjay had been negotiating a business deal with the Lumerico CEO, Guillermo Portero, and in one email, their discussion was leaked by Sombra. In both the Masquerade and Moira's origin story, Sanjay can be seen seated at Talon's Council of Leaders. Okay, Sanjay, could you be a support hero? He definitely could. I mean, hard light can make anything. If you look at Symmetra, she's building turrets and teleporters. In fact, she started out as a support. So in some ways, it might be quite cool to get Sanjay as a proper hard light support hero. In terms of his abilities, I don't know. But I think he's definitely one to keep an eye on. He is one of the leaders of Talon, so he at some point will definitely be involved in this game. Let's move on to a newer hero. This is Geiger. Now, Geiger is one of the, he's one of the contestants in the Junker Queen cinematic that Junker Queen absolutely annihilates. Well, I mean, maybe he could be a support hero. I would say this is probably a bit of a long shot because, I mean, he looks like a maniac who's trying to kill people. So I highly doubt he's a support. But I think we've just got to throw him in there because he is one of the newer characters that we've actually been exposed to recently. So you never know. This is Meri. Now, Meri interests me more than Geiger from the Wastelander cinematic, of course, the Junker Queen cinematic. Because Meri sort of looks like a support hero with support abilities. She takes part in the Reckoning and actually sides with Junker Queen against the existing king, was called Mason Howell. And I don't know, something about this hero design, it kind of looks like a support mech in a lot of ways. So I don't know, you guys go crazy in the comments below. What abilities would you give this character? Dae-Hyun Park. Now, Dae-Hyun is, well, essentially D.Va's mechanic. Now, we've seen him in the Shooting Star cinematic in which he's giving D.Va a bit of advice, but he's basically there to repair and assist D.Va. He's almost like D.Va's mechanic in a lot of ways. Think of a Formula 1 garage. He's one of the mechanics that fixes D.Va's mech when it comes back absolutely destroyed from a mission. So maybe he could be a support. If he actually is somebody involved in repairing stuff, then it makes sense, doesn't it, that he could potentially arrive as a support character. D.Va also recognizes Dae-Hyun as a very good friend and one who's been there for her when she needed a friend the most. So, could be some deeper connections there with D.Va as well going forward. But Dae-Hyun has been one of those characters that's been sort of speculated to be a hero for a very long time when it comes to Overwatch. So, I think at some point we may potentially see him. But will he be the next hero? I don't know. This is Casino. Now, let's keep it on the Mecha Squad because the Mecha Squad is something we have spoken about time and time again. Loads of people discuss this. They are absolutely ripe to be turned into heroes because they all fit a very specific role in the game. You've got tank supports and DPS. Now, this is Casino. His real name is Jae-Won Kwon, and he is a member, obviously, of the Mobile Exo Force, part of D.Va's squad. He also, very interestingly, actually used to be a Formula 1 driver, which is really cool. There is a ton of information on the Mecha Squad in the latest New Blood issue, which is issue number 5. There'll be links to all of these sources in the video description below, so you can check them out. But I'd like to actually focus on the mech, because that, to me, doesn't look like a support mech. Now, you've got to think about his history. He's an F1 driver. He goes really fast. I think he's some sort of flanker mech, some sort of really fast-moving, high damage, maybe even like Tracer inside a mech in some ways. So I wouldn't have him down as a support hero, but his mech looks really, really cool. And because Blizzard have actually designed all of this concept art for the mechs, it does make you wonder, they've probably got them somewhere in development. This is King, also known as Kyung So Han. He also used to be a professional gamer, pretty much like D.Va, but now he's a mecha pilot. So let's take a look at his mech, and there is one very clear thing here. He is firing a missile out of his mech. He looks like a DPS mech, if ever I've seen one. It looks crazy. He's got massive cannons for arms. He's got weapons, it looks like, on his knees. He's firing rockets from his shoulders. If this is a support hero, I mean, what's he healing with? Killing people? But I mean, yeah, we'll probably see him at some point. Again, it's that age-old thing of there is this concept art of the hero. It most likely is going to be a hero at some point, but I don't think this is a support hero. It looks way too aggressive for support. Who doesn't look aggressive, though, is Overlord. Now, this could be where some of the smart money goes for the next hero, because he is a support. Now, we know this if you go and look at the New Blood issue 5. You can see, well, he's there. He basically fixes the other mechs. He's there to assist them. Now, we don't know what his abilities could be. There has been speculation from various people about him having drones. In fact, there's a ton of speculation. I think Masterian Gamer did some stuff about that a few years ago on YouTube. There's been loads of stuff on Reddit, on the official forums, floating around. So there is potential there that he's got some sort of drone-based abilities, although we don't know for sure. But he's a support hero. And let's take a look at his mech. And this kind of... Well, look at that. That doesn't look like an offensive mech. In fact, you can see the drones here, which I think whereas a lot of the speculation comes from. If you look at the top of the mech, there's these very small drones, and there's 4 of them. Now, there is a possibility here that these connect to allies and heal them or assist them in some way. Maybe like Zen's orbs, but not as powerful. Or maybe they can do things with the mechs together. They've got certain abilities and stuff. Now, he does also have a massive chain gun hanging off the bottom of him. So, yeah, he could be anything. But I don't know. I think good old mastermind, Sweng Hwa, and I've totally butchered that, but I'm terrible at pronouncing Korean names anyway. But as we know him as Overlord, I think this could be the next hero. Whoa. Now, this is Dmon, the leader of the Mecha Squad. And she used to be a professional gamer as well. But she's a tank. She is not a support hero in any sense of the word, because this is her mech. Now, if that's a support, well, I mean, this is the most juiced up support I've ever seen in my life. It's literally bigger than Reinhardt with a massive shield and a massive sort of energy blade weapon. I mean, this looks sick to me. This is something I want to see, but it doesn't look like a tank. So I don't think we're going to see this as the next hero. But again, like I said, with all of these mechs, they've built all of the... they've got the concept art for it. They must have explored these mechs and explored the way they function. So I would probably bet heavily on this being a hero at some point. But at the moment, I don't think it's going to be the next hero. Okay, now we're starting to get really out there. This is Lynx 17. I made a video on Lynx, I think 6 years ago. Now, Lynx, oh my lord, he actually was revealed in the comic Searching, which features Zarya, which actually leads on from the Volskaya cinematic, and well, the Sombra cinematic, I guess, in which Widowmaker and Reaper assault Volskaya, and then they sort of capture Katya Volskaya and they hold her to well, at least Sombra holds her to ransom. Now, this is the response to that, where Zarya is hired by Katya Volskaya to go out there and basically find Sombra and sort her out, and she goes with Lynx 17. That's where he first came from. And that's pretty much all we know about Lynx 17. We think he's a little bit of a hacker. He's an Omnic, so Zarya doesn't really like him particularly. He could be anything. It would be probably way out of left field if he just suddenly popped in the game as a hero. Like, whoa, here's Link 17. Because I think there are a lot stronger choices that I think would resonate better with the player base than a random Omnic. But you never know. Talking of a random Omnic, all right then, this is Maximillian. Everybody knows who this hero is by now. He is the financier of talent. He is basically the money launderer of talent. He's the money man. He's not a killer. We've seen him in the Storm Rising cinematic. He's a bit of a, well, he's a bit of a chicken, but he's the man with the money. Now, this could mean he is some sort of support hero. He doesn't want to function on the front lines. He's in the back supporting people. I'm not really too sure on this. Like, it could be, but I don't know. Like, I just don't feel he fits into the game at the moment as a character. Now, or definitely as a hero. Probably when we go to PvE and when that eventually launches, yeah, there'll probably be loads of Maximillian stuff. But I'm not too sure he's actually going to be a hero. I mean, you guys let me know what you think about this in the comments below. But I honestly think we've been teased this guy for so long. I don't think he's going to... Like, it doesn't make sense to me. Especially when you could have Overlord. Like, why would you have this guy? I don't know. Maybe. It could be the case. I don't know, but... And finally, we'll end the video on this. This is Mauga. It's not going to be Mauga because Mauga is a tank. He's literally a talent-heavy tank. He is not a support hero. If he is a support hero, I don't know what's gone on there with Blizzard, and they've just basically got his model finished and gone like, oh no, we need to support, so we've just given him support abilities. That would be really weird. Yeah, I can see him being a hero at some point, but not being the next hero. Now, I guess this is where we sum up the video. Who do I think is going to be the next hero? And you guys can probably tell by my sort of enthusiasm throughout the video. I hope it's Overlord. And if it isn't Overlord, I think it'd be really cool if it was Sanjay. What do you think? Thank you, everybody, for watching and listening to the video. I've been Stylosa, and do let me know about your speculation in the comments below, and I'll catch you on the next one. See you soon.